Jack the Ripper, the brutal serial killer who terrorized London in the late 1800s.
36 passengers got off the jetliner in Seattle last night. Left aboard 4 crew members and the hijacker, dressed in a business suit, demanding
hikers were found almost 60 years ago. The cause of their deaths is still unknown.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas. The first reports say that President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting.
I have headache.
Someone using sophisticated equipment managed to briefly and illegally override broadcast signals on WGN.
In 1948, a man was found dead on Somerton Beach in Adelaide, slumped against a seawall and dressed in a suit.
Thought of a dead person did not enter my mind. I thought it was a mannequin because it was so white.
It's one of the most fascinating tales of all time. We call it the money pit.
Amelia Earhart checked over every detail of her $80,000 flying laboratory. Then to a waiting world came news of
That bizarre mystery of the cyanide still has not been solved. Investigators say they are searching for, quote, a madman.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Whodunit, the show where we attempt to solve some of the most compelling unsolved mysteries of all time. AJ, today, as you are hearing for the first time, we are going to be covering the lead masks case.
Ooh, that's the big reveal. I've been waiting. I've been excited because you've been telling me for days. I'm working on the script.
The big reveal.
So it's the lead mask, like pencils.
Yes, exactly like that, except not at all because leads are made of pencils are made of graphite. Nailed it. I didn't.
It just came to my mind as I said it, and I was like, "Gosh dang it!" But the joke, it's here, so I'm just. All right, it's already there. It's fine.
You got it.
It came out of my mouth, and I was like, I can't grab it. I'm sorry.
You can't
retract it. It's there now. It's on the internet.
Welcome to Whodunit.
Welcome to Whodunit, guys. Our spin-off crime drama series. I thought we've been wanting to do some extra stuff alongside of Yankee and Gravy. Speaking of which, I'm Yankee.
And I'm Gravy.
And this is our Whodunit YouTube series. Yeah, we're doing fantastic. I'm super excited. This is the show where we learn, crack, and solve crime stuff that we have no business declassifying in any sort of way. We are not. I'm like halfway through my law enforcement education. By education, I mean education, but I'm
education in quotation marks. Education, you know how that is, folks. This is our last ever first episode of this series. Oh man. All right. Here we go. Let's crack open the case file suitcase. Let's see what we have going on here. All right. So first of all, we have our victims.
Okay.
AJ. Audience. These two individuals who you will become better acquainted with over the course of this story. We have our script, which I will start reading now, and then we have one other photo that I will show later for a little bit of context. So,
yay!
Let's get started.
Narbuckle
with the lead masks case.
Cool.
Brazil, August 20th, 1966. An 18-year-old boy named Jorge de Costa Alves is flying a kite on Vintém Hill in Rio de Janeiro.
Why a kite? They're a kite.
A kite.
I know you told me.
That's right.
I know you told me to be funny, but here's the thing: there are so many better things to do in Brazil than to fly a kite. Like the biggest thing that kids are known for is playing soccer. So, is he fat?
Right. This is an 18-year-old. This is an adult man.
Oh yeah, he's 18 and he's flying a kite.
Maybe he was a kite collector. Maybe he's...
That's not a thing.
Just, he's starting his burgeoning collection.
That's not a thing.
He goes to competitions, international, he's the most critically acclaimed kite flyer, and then all of the kite enthusiasts are going to sound off in our comment section and come for us. Get attacked by the kite mafia.
It all started because someone told him to go fly a kite, and he was like, you know what, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, you know what?
You know what?
Fine.
Maybe I will.
According to some accounts, the boy had visited the same location 2 times in the days prior, and had seen these 2 figures in the same place both previous days. Regardless, on August 20th, it became apparent to the boy that something was wrong. He reported the 2 men to the police that day. However, it would take them until the following day to make it up the hill due to the rough terrain. When the police reached the summit, they did indeed find the aforementioned bodies, but the state of these 2 men would baffle investigators in the coming weeks. The 2 men were found reclining on a bed of leaves, which appeared to have been trimmed with scissors. I say reclining because they had their hands behind their bed, behind their head.
Kinky.
Let's try that again. I say reclining because they had their hands behind their head, lying on their backs, with no visible signs of trauma. Their apparel and other accoutrement, however, is what makes the case truly bizarre.
Don't you mean truly Brazil?
That was maybe the worst pun that's ever been made. Congratulations. You get annoyed at me for my long jokes that lead to anticlimactic puns. No. That's so much worse than anything I have ever said.
That was
it's
pretty
not even
good.
Close. Both men were dressed in suit and tie and were both wearing raincoats, the receipt for which was found in one of the men's coat pockets. Also found was an empty water bottle as well as 2 wet towels in a package next to the bodies, and some money which will come into play later. What's more, both men were wearing sheets of lead cut into the rough shapes of sleeping masks over their eyes. That is what my last photograph is. It is a photograph of
underpants?
Masks.
Oh, I can't. The way that
lead masks.
Those are some awful masks. Those aren't masks. Those are sunglasses.
They were maybe in a hurry, and they were cutting through pure lead. So you have to understand. You have to give them some slack. All right, this is lead. It's not super easy to cut.
Yeah, but that's still not a mask. I wouldn't. Hold on. Hold on. I wouldn't. No. I wouldn't walk into a bank and be like, guys, we need to rob this bank. Our identities. We're good. That's not...
It works for Superman.
That's... okay.
This would also work as a blindfold for Superman, because he can't use his X-ray vision through lead.
Nerd.
One of the men also had a notebook, which contained a list of parts, more on that later, and a set of what appeared to be cryptic instructions. Quote, on Sunday, 1 tablet after the meal. Monday, 1 tablet in the morning on an empty stomach. Tuesday, 1 tablet after the meal. Wednesday, 1 tablet before going to bed. End quote. The second page I'm going to start off by reading in the original Portuguese, because if any of our viewers speak Portuguese, they'll notice something interesting.
None of our listeners speak Portuguese. I'm not saying our viewership is
we're future proofing, all right? For if we blow up and get big. Listen, even if you speak Spanish, you'll probably notice why this is weird, and there's a good chance that at least one of our listeners speaks Spanish, just statistically. So,
well, we speak a little. I speak high school Spanish, but that doesn't. Let's see. I'm on the edge of my.
You might be able to pick out what.
I'm on the edge of my.
You might be able to pick out what's weird. All right, here we go. 1630. Estar no local determinado. 1830. Ingerir cápsulas. Após avieto predegar matais aguardar sinal mascara. So in English, that's 1630, be at the specified location. 1830, ingest capsules. After the effect, protect metals, await signal mask. Now that doesn't sound weird because there's not a direct translation. It sounds weird because the grammar is very, very bad.
Okay.
It appears to many that the person who wrote these instructions doesn't speak Portuguese, because this isn't how any Portuguese speaker writes Portuguese. The handwriting doesn't match the handwriting of either of the two bodies, so these instructions appear to have been written by someone else. So it didn't take long for the police to identify the bodies. Miguel Jose Viana and Manuel Pereira da Cruz, who were both electrical engineers who had left their homes 2 days prior, both had young families, both had wives who reported that they had left to purchase supplies for work. Their actual path, however, differs strongly from this familial alibi. The two men left their homes and rode a bus roughly 200 kilometers, or 124 miles southwest of Rio de Janeiro.
We're American, just say miles.
There they stopped at a bar and purchased the water bottle that was found on the hill, the receipt for which was on one of the men. This receipt would have been necessary to return the bottle to get some of the money back after they finished the water. So the premise of the store is they would sell you the cost of the water plus the cost of the water bottle, and then if you brought the bottle back, they would refund you that amount of money so that they could reuse it.
Stonks.
Stonks. So according to the clerk who sold the men the water, the men were agitated, with one checking his watch extremely frequently. After purchasing the water, the men left the bar and got into a jeep with two unidentified men. It is believed this is the last time they were ever seen alive.
Okay.
I bet you thought I was gonna put a sound effect in there, didn't you? Didn't you, AJ? You little loser. You little...
Alright. I know what happened.
Oh, you've already cracked it.
I figured it out.
Okay, good. Well, before you relay your theories, I'm going to give you 3 final pieces of information that you might want to use in your theory.
Okay.
And then I'm going to intentionally omit one piece of information that I think really ties the whole case together, but I want to see where your thoughts are before this final information comes out. Just like the real investigators who didn't find this information until very late in the case. Number 1. The two men left the house with an estimated 3 million cruzeiros. Unfortunately, the inflation was so all over the place in Brazil at the time, there's really no way to accurately approximate that value, but it's believed to be roughly enough to buy a used car in the area. When the men were found, they had only a small amount of money left on them. This is odd because the only known purchases that they made were the raincoats they were wearing and the waters. So what happened to the rest of the money? 2. A report of a flying light matched the general location of the bodies.
Of course, it's always flying lights and mysterious objects in the sky.
It's the flying lights in the sky, okay? It's the flying lights in the sky.
Now, were they
that's
like...
what killed these two men.
Was it like Zoom, like a light, or was it like the lanterns from Tangled?
I think it was just floating in one central location.
So the lanterns from Tangled. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, it was one of the lanterns from Tangled. Because it was brought up after the discovery of the bodies, it wasn't given much attention. However, the woman who had seen the light pointed out the exact hill that the two men were found on, a detail that couldn't have been described in the papers. So the place that she pointed to was the exact hill that the bodies were found on. So that was worth noting. Number 3. Perhaps the most baffling detail was that during this investigation, amongst the bizarre circumstances of finding bodies with lead masks on them, they found that this was not the only case of a body being found wearing a lead mask in Brazil.
Sunglasses, but
there was a previous case of the
Were the other ones actual masks?
I assume it was like this.
Then it wasn't a
sleeping
mask,
masks. Was it? Like sleeping masks. They're sleeping mask type things.
Okay. So maybe they're not dead. Maybe everyone's just asleep.
They're just taking a nap. We cracked it. Did you just want to go?
I'm just going to go.
I feel like we've got it.
Thanks, man. Good night, everybody.
All right. It's a good one. This body supposedly belonged to a Hermes Luiz Feitosa, Unfortunately, there's next to no information regarding Feitosa, and it is not known with 100% certainty how much credibility can be given to this description of this case. So there was very little coherent reporting done in this area at this time. There were other things going on. Doesn't seem like a whole lot of attention was paid to this sort of thing. So we don't know whether Feitosa comprehensively existed or if his death was accurately reported as being another one of these lead masks dead. There are accounts of it, but I couldn't find the direct records to corroborate those accounts, so I don't know if that's true. So, I've omitted the last piece of information.
People are expecting a lot of us. We need to have all the facts down. So if you can't gather all these facts, I don't know whether I should believe you or not.
I've gathered them. I've gathered them.
I've gathered some. I've gathered. Okay.
Unfortunately, one of the most comprehensive collections of information about this case is from like the Flying Saucer magazine or something like that. Like it's this super tinfoil hat.
Super credible source.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, very much tinfoil hat.
It's the source with the utmost credibility. So, because of that's why I can't definitively say, oh look, this guy existed, because I don't know. Maybe the Flying Saucer Review didn't have quite enough material to meet its monthly quota, and they wanted to add a little bit to that story to pad it and reach their word count. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. That seems very political. That seems very okay.
So, I've omitted the last piece of information. Other than that, all the facts are before you. So, what are your thoughts? What are you thinking? Who done it?
So, who done it? All right. The guy who sells the water bottles, he really had it out for him, and here's why. The guy still had his receipt in his jacket, right? When he was all kinked up in bed. Okay. So, he didn't bring back the bottles.
Oh, and the clerk was not having
and
that.
And therefore, it's like, all right, it's the knees.
Did she just have that on the record? You pulled that so reflexively. It didn't even look like you were picking it up. It just looked like it was always in your hand. You were just like, come on, knife. Switchblade. Were you just preparing for that moment?
I'm prepared.
Were you afraid that you were going to get attacked mid-episode?
I'm always prepared. It's the banana hat. I'm always...
That's my secret.
It's valuable.
I'm always prepared for someone attacking me randomly.
Anyway.
So the clerk.
No.
So the clerk finds these men.
They're overdue on their bottles. He still needs those bottles.
Sure.
And they had the audacity to drink the bottles and throw them to the side and just be like, we don't need that extra change. It's no big deal.
No.
But the clerk needed it. The clerk needed the bottles.
Of course.
And so he decided, if they're not going to give them back, then I'm going to take them from them.
I see only one problem. There's only one problem with this entire theory.
Okay.
And that is that the water bottle was still on them.
I need to stop drinking water when you do reveals. Gosh dang it.
Other than that, completely airtight. I'd put him in jail just in case.
So I was gonna say just in case. So it could be like the act of revenge itself was enough. So he was just like, I don't even need that battle. I'm satisfied. I'm good.
Yeah. They know. It'll be a message to people who don't return their bottles in the future. I'll teach them.
Like, tell your friends, and then tell your friends that he's dead. And he's just like, didn't mean to kill him that hard. and it's meant to.
Oops.
That's a great question. I'm just trying to think. I really don't. I can't think of any suspects that could have had it out for them.
Right.
Like if I heard it correctly, they were just these guys.
They had wives, they had families, and then they just decided to, you know, eat off and then go up a hill and die. Some people will probably ask, like, what about the autopsies? They didn't really do much of an autopsy, honestly. They didn't do a toxicology report, so it's not known if they were poisoned. You know, these instructions kept talking about capsules, so sounds like they were popping pills of some kind.
I was gonna say they were clearly, I don't know, they're in Brazil. They're woohoo, spring break or something. I don't know. So, because I know in some of like the recorded findings, they were like he pops tablet so and so. At first I was like, oh, he just doesn't like iPads. That's fine. But then I was like, oh, it's fine. They're just pills. Maybe it was just a Tylenol. Maybe he was just having a bad night after kite flying.
Well, and that is one thing that's interesting, because there wasn't like a pill bottle or anything on them, and there were no like pills found, so you know there's nothing directly to suggest that they were popping these pills. But maybe, you know, they just had the exact right amount and they were just carrying them in their hand or something, or maybe they just like put them loose in their pockets. I don't know. It doesn't seem super sanitary, but you know, hey, they ended up dead. No. So I guess it I guess maybe their safety wasn't their top priority.
Who's to say?
So
you know what? We're to say.
We're to say. That's our job. Oh yeah, that's what this show is.
I forgot. That's why we're here. We're doing that. Yeah. Say.
Hey, look at us go. So the piece of information that I omitted, and the one that I think really puts a bow on this whole thing. According to friends, the two deceased men were in fact members of an extraterrestrial spiritualist group, which among other things promoted the idea of contacting beings from outer space in the afterlife. Ghost aliens. They were trying to contact ghost aliens.
Galians, if I do say so. Galians.
I feel like that might have slightly different connotations than what you might think it implies, but Galians. There's an H in there, you just can't hear it. It's a silent H, like in Ghost. Galians. G-H-A-L-I-E-N-S.
Oh, you don't...
There you go.
No, I say ghost. You don't say the H, I say the ghost.
Oh, I see. I've been pronouncing it wrong this whole time. It's not a silent thing, it's just ghost.
It's a ghost.
Oh,
like in common if you ghost.
Like the last breath that a person gives out before they become a ghost. I understand now. Okay.
A ghost, yes. Mm-hmm.
A book containing similar ideology found in the men's home apparently confirms this aspersion. So, so there is verifiable evidence now, in addition to the testimony of friends, that these guys were in fact members of a pseudo cult or sect that was trying to contact ghost aliens. So of course,
aren't we all? Oh. Hey, buddy. Oh. Butler, do you ghost? Which day do you ghost? On any calendar week, which day do you ghost?
Tell me! I'm the bad cop in this routine. What day do you ghost? We need to know! These men have died!
I have like a lamp and I put in his face. Fuck! He's not having it. He's in a oh, Butler!
That brings us to the end of our case file, but I did want to let you know that there is an entire group of people out there on the internet that are quite convinced that these guys made contact with aliens to separate themselves from their mortal shells and ascend into the flying saucers which beamed them up, Scotty.
But what sort of alien race decides to come down, waste their time with a bunch of Brazilians with tinfoil hats, and then kink shame them by tying them up on their beds, and then tease them? Maybe they didn't even like bring them up. Maybe they were just like, yes, here we are, we're real, and then they're just like, die, and then they leave. And then they drank all their water and left because there's some thirsty aliens.
There were some thirsty
ghosts.
Aliens. Both. So, what I think happened.
Okay.
I think the Occam's razor solution. These guys got a list of instructions that were transcribed by some leader within their group. Then that leader gave them these tablets to take on different days, with these instructions.
Maybe.
And
that's
then
good, yeah.
And then the different pills. The first few say were sugar pills. Then they got into some later ones. The last pill was just like straight up cyanide. And so they popped them and they put on the masks and they reclined back and they were like, time to see some aliens because these are the pills for the aliens, right? And then the instructions told them to put on these lead masks, so maybe they were supposed to protect the two men from the blinding flash of the UFOs when they descend, so they don't melt their eyeballs out or something.
Well, then where the heck is the sunscreen? What is in sunscreen?
SPF.
Wow, SPF. Gosh dang it! I had a tiny stroke. It happened right here. I couldn't think of SPF 50. Therefore, the joke is bad and ruined. Just proceed. We're just gonna forget that.
I'm just gonna linger here for a few seconds. I'm not gonna cut. This is just gonna stay in the final cut. These seconds of silence while you think about what you've done. Just a few. Just one more. Two more. Okay. Now we're good. You can cut. So what do you think? So what do you think? What do you think about?
I dropped it.
Did you just impale yourself?
I'm good. Perhaps.
Don't play with knives, kids.
Negatory. I almost ended my future line of children. That would have been bad.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't have been a great way to end the episode. It would have probably gotten some clicks, though. So I have mixed feelings on the matter.
Well.
Alright. So what do you think about the lead masks of Vintém Hill? What do you think is going on?
I think that no good can come from kite flying.
Are you taking a hard anti-kite stance this episode? Is that your official position?
I've never been more sure about something in my entire life.
Amen. You know what? Take care, folks. Don't fly kites.
Please don't.